Okay, what's one misconception women have about men and sex?
I feel like there's a lot, people might hate me for this, but there's a lot of pressure on the guy. Like,
sexually?
Yeah. And
Okay, but here's the thing. You literally just said, if you're doing A, B, C, and D, then the guy has to be bringing good chat,
but
has to be
that's what I
bringing
mean.
good
That's
dick,
what I
blah,
mean.
blah, blah, blah. Is that not entitlement?
No, I'm just saying that these 20% of men
Yep.
are doing those things. Like, why would a woman want to baby someone?
Yo guys, welcome back to another episode on my channel. I'm sitting in this spot, which means I've got a great conversation lined up for you today. You know, on this channel, we like to talk about all things dating and relationships and seeing what we can do to attract the kind of partner and relationship we want. So without further ado, please welcome Alice to the show.
Hi.
Alice, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Can we just appreciate that she's matching the lights right now? She's got the pink jumper, pink hair going on, the ribbon. She came prepared.
Skills.
She came prepared. We love it. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Busy, but it's good.
I know, but we appreciate you sharing your energy with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm gonna jump right in. Tell us your age or your age range, asking her lady her age. And one thing a guy should know about you if you want to take you on a date.
So I am 29. He should probably know I'm married.
It's a pretty good place to start.
I am married but polyamorous. So I'm just all about, authentic connection. If I don't like to put on a show. If you match me in who you are authentically, then great.
Yeah. Does that mean, so being polyamorous, does that mean you're open to going on a date with someone?
Yeah. So polyamorous is basically, there's lots of different types of polyamory, but I essentially just would describe it as no limitations on love and connection. I don't know whether it's like, so how I grew up, my parents weren't together and I had like step parents. And so I just kind of have this belief that just because you have a relationship or a connection with one person, that doesn't take away from what you have with another. As long as you're managing and nourishing that connection, then there's no reason why you can't have others.
Yeah, so I hear that. Is there an element of having to make sure any connection you have elsewhere doesn't take away from, I guess, your primary partner? Yeah,
so some people don't have primary partners. I do. I have a husband and I have children, and so I would describe my polyamory as hierarchical. He's my priority. And it is like, obviously, it's like if you have like lots of children, you don't love one child less than the other, but because you have more, you have to manage that time and make sure you're still nourishing each child. And it's exactly the same with like polyamory. You just have to, if I have a connection with someone else, that's fine, but if I'm then choosing to spend all my time with them so that my husband is left out, then that's not okay.
Yeah. So aside from kind of making sure that he's not neglected in that sense, do you, and you don't have to share this if you don't want to, but do you have any boundaries as to who you can be involved with, maybe how much time you spend with them, what level of intimacy you can have with them? Do you have any boundaries in that sense?
Yeah, we do. So we have like quite a kinky relationship. So we have certain rules, like I wouldn't be able to call anyone else like daddy in the bedroom. Condoms, like if we play with anyone else, those are a must that we're tested. And also that as long as, like, say it's about time management. So if I'm taking away from our time to be with someone else, then that would be an issue. And essentially we can be like, no, like I don't want you to play with that person anymore. Like,
and would you be like, okay, I'm not doing that?
It's a conversation we would have. Like, it would be about finding out the reasons. Like, are you saying that because you feel left out and jealous, and are those things that we can fix? Or are you saying it because you don't like the way that person's treating me and you're seeing something that I can't see? Like, it's about getting to the bottom of the reasoning, and then we can make a decision together.
Yeah, I hear that. How often has it happened where maybe one of you just got jealous of somebody else because maybe they did feel a bit threatened by an external partner?
It's happened, like, jealousy is part of it. Like, I'm not afraid of jealousy. I think it's a natural feeling. I don't, I think as humans, we get so resistant to feel anything negative, but often a negative feeling is because we have a positive feeling. So because we're in love and because we have a connection, obviously there's jealousy that comes with that, and I actually sometimes like that. It means that if I wasn't jealous of him, then why am I not jealous? Like it's not a bad thing to feel, and you can feel and you can soothe feelings. Like, you know, it's like having grief when someone passes. That's because you loved someone. So, but then is it a healthy jealousy that I can manage, or is it an unhealthy jealousy, and why is that? And it's you have to unpick a lot with polyamory, which just forces growth, really.
100%. You definitely have to have a level of, not only just a level of communication, but a level of emotional maturity for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Because if even just one person isn't on that level, like it's just unraveling everything.
Yeah. And we haven't always been I would say I've always been polyamorous. I would almost describe it as a core part of who I am. But I didn't know that. So I always just thought I was an asshole because like and we've been together 10 years. 8 years of that was monogamous. So it's only really been the last like year or two that we've had to manage this. So.
And who initiated opening up? Was it you or him?
It was me. So I think my partner could be content in monogamy or openness. Like he's not, it's not like me where I don't think I could be monogamous. But I never cheated on him. I never did anything like that. But I always felt off, like like a caged bird almost. Like,
yes.
So it was me that was like, I think this is why. And then we just took it baby steps. And
right. And then when did he start to go, okay, like he starts being open to maybe being intimate with other people and stuff? How was his journey to that?
Yeah. So it was just like, I think the biggest one was we went on like we'd hired like this Airbnb with a lot of my friends who were all like in the industry or in like ethically non-monogamous, and there was like a point where I wanted to carry on, like we were partying and playing games, and he's an introvert. He quite likes to like cozy up and not be so much. So it was, I wanted to carry on and he didn't, but there was another girl, well, it was Georgie, who's been on this podcast, my friend.
Yes.
She's the same as him, like not really, doesn't want to stay up and play the games and stuff. So she went with him and they had a cuddle and like watched a film together, and he was like, oh, I really get it now. Like I don't have to get you to compromise and do the things that I need from you if I can get those needs met by someone else. And he is like, that was like a eureka moment, really.
Yeah, I get that. It's funny because I feel like I think I understand that, and maybe because I think sometimes men can feel a bit trapped in monogamy when it comes, especially like sexual relations. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the time women are like, oh, you just need to grow up and like mature in that sense and all of this. So what would you say, it doesn't have to be women, it could be people, what would you say to someone who goes, oh, well, the reason you want to have connections elsewhere is because your husband isn't enough for you?
I would say like maybe he isn't, and that's okay. Like you wouldn't, like, why do we, I get really frustrated with people that not only expect their partner to fulfill every one of their needs,
Facts.
but berate them when they can't. Like actually our relationship is so much healthier and happier because if he isn't something, then I can get that. I don't have to be like, he doesn't do this.
Yes.
Because so he's like very much a homebody. He's not like super ambitious and goal orientated, but he is super loving and an incredible father. But I could sit there and be frustrated that he's not like supporting me in my work goals.
Yes.
But that doesn't come naturally to him.
Sure.
So, but I have someone else that I have a connection with that is very much like, will ring me up and be like, right, you've got to do this today. And I get that from them, and that makes me happier in my relationship because I'm not like, he doesn't do everything I want him to do.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I think I get that when maybe that's not who he is, you get that somewhere else. what happens if because you've been together for 10 years, right? Which is like amazing because we don't hear about that anymore, right? So what happens when there's something that he did provide for you and used to provide for you, but then now he doesn't because of whatever reason? Is that something you would address with him and be like, why is this not happening? Or would you be like, okay, this is something else that I can just outsource?
I think it depends. Like, I very much believe in growing as an autonomous human. So like if those are things that he wants to do and enjoys doing, then why isn't he doing them? But if there are things that he did for me that he doesn't want or enjoy doing, then I think then that's okay to go elsewhere. But I just think like people should be focused on their own growth and then be matched together rather than like a codependency type situation. I hear that.
Yeah. I feel like I've grilled you quite a bit. Is there anything you want to ask or bring to the conversation? Anything you want to talk about?
I don't know. I was curious, like, what brought you to this? What made you want to do what you're doing?
The podcast stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great question. So I always had male and female friends come to me for dating advice. And they always felt that my advice helped. Maybe because rightfully or wrongfully so, I'm not afraid to say what I believe is true, the reality. And there's some things about the reality of things that, you know, make us feel good or great, but there's some things that we have to address that we shouldn't shy away from.
Yeah.
And then I just started putting it out on YouTube for fun. And then I started getting traction, and then people started messaging me saying, hey, I love your content. I want you to coach me through the situation. But the reason I guess I want to have these conversations is because I think it's harder to find something fulfilling nowadays in this kind of day and age of, you know, kind of everything's about looks, social media, you know. I think we live in a very consumer-based society right now. And sometimes having too many things we can do actually can be detrimental. And I think there's there's like the paradox of choice, for example. And so it's more about helping people and all of us find something more fulfilling and real, because I think the thing that enriches life is the connections we have with people. But I don't know everything, and I don't claim to know everything. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I always invite interesting people on to give their perspective. There was one thing I wanted to ask you, because you're a sex educator.
I am.
As well. What's the most common misconception men have about women when it comes to sex?
That sex is a prize and that women use it as a tool to get what they want and they don't actually enjoy it. Like, I think...
Cannot both be true?
I think it's true because we're told it's true. So like if you look at, there was a test, I can't remember the name of it, but they did this test where they did a quiz or something and they fake overheard. So the people being tested fake overheard. There was one group that fake overheard that women did really badly in this test. And there was another group that fake overheard that men did really badly in this test. And they did it over and over and over. And every time it was true. So we ingest and learn the things that society tells us that are true. Yeah. And so because we are consistently told that women want emotional connection and they don't want sex and they use it as a bargaining chip and men only want it, then it's true because that's what we're told. I love sex. I don't want, I've got emotional connection. I've got money. I'm very, I don't need men. I don't need to use sex as a bargaining tool. I have everything that I need. Yeah. But I love to fuck. So I just think like that's what I get frustrated at. Okay.
I hear what you're saying and I agree. If anyone is saying that women don't enjoy sex, that's just plain wrong. Like everyone likes sex, right?
Good sex.
Good sex, of course. Good sex, consensual sex. But I think to say that women have never, and even some women today, don't trade sex for something other than pleasure and intimacy, I think that's I think that's wrong. Sometimes
I agree.
some people do that.
Oh, they do. But I think because they have to, or they've been told that they should.
Or it's a power that they want to utilize for themselves for whatever reason. Because it's not like the whole casting couch thing. That is very much a thing. As in, somebody's like auditioning, and I say this because I'm an actor, right? That's my main profession. So somebody exchanging sexual favors for an opportunity for them out of 1,000, that is something that happens and still happens. And I've even been proposed to.
Yeah, it 100% happens, but because we've been put in a society where it's a thing. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's inherently that women would use that or are doing it for an emotional, but it's because as a society we're told that they do and that they should. Like even me, like I had a situation recently where I was in London and I wanted company, and so I messaged a friend and I wanted to hang out with him, and when he left, like we just hung out, had food and watched, and when he left I felt bad that I didn't give him sex, because I have like a story in my head that is my value, like that is what he would have wanted. He wouldn't want to just hang out with me, but why? And it's infuriating. Like, why can't I just be fun to hang out with? Why did I feel like I had to give him sex for him to have a good time?
I agree, and I think many women do feel that way. Like, and I've talked to female friends where it was consensual, but they had sex with a guy because they felt that they had to, because they were like, he may not like me, etc. I completely empathize with that for sure. But I think the reason why sex has been, and to some extent still continues to be, traded as a commodity, I don't think it's because our society made it that way, because this is something that's pretty global and throughout a lot of cultures throughout time. And I think the biggest reason is because sex has always been a power that women have over men, because men have this desire for it. And that's not, women don't have the desire for it, but I'm gonna
disagree with you here, because yes, it's definitely used as a power, but it's not about men and women. Like if you look at Egyptian, when Cleopatra was it, she was shagging all the male slaves. It's power.
Yes.
It's something that someone wants and they can give to get power, but it's not about being male or female. It's just that we live in a society that is patriarchal, and therefore
I'm not saying it's necessarily a woman to a man, because like I said, I've been proposed to where if I did this certain sexual thing, I could have had an opportunity come my way, and I chose I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why I'm saying from women to men, because I think that's the most common thing we've seen throughout cultures, throughout the ages.
Yeah.
And it's because you can have sex with someone because you want to have sex with them and it wants to be pleasurable. You can have sex with someone because you just want them. You can have sex with them because you really love them. And some people I want to have sex with you because you're going to give me something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The oldest profession is prostitution.
Yeah, I don't actually think that's a bad thing. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing. If you enjoy it and you want to do that, then like, why not?
Yeah.
It's your body. That's what having an autonomy. As someone telling someone they can't have sex for money is controlling, is saying you have to have sex with someone for money, because it's your body and you do what you want with it, in my opinion.
No, I hear that. I don't disagree with you. I guess the question is it possible, because I don't disagree with that, but I'm playing devil's advocate here. Are there certain behaviors that while individually they may be morally okay, the ramifications socially may have a net negative impact?
Can you explain what you mean by that?
So for example, if for example, and I'm using the stereotype here, if for example, there's a guy and he only wants casual fun, right? That's all he wants, right? On an individual basis, that might be fine with one individual at a time, right? But if all guys only wanted casual fun, and there are some people or some women, for example, who wanted a relationship, wanted commitment, wanted a family, but guys just wanted casual fun, that one individual thing that is okay for the individual, if done en masse, it's a net negatives to society as a whole.
But you could say that about anything. Like, if someone chose to only eat chips, and then the whole world, everyone only eating chips. Oh no, there's no potatoes anymore. Like, you could apply that to any scenario, but that's the beauty of being unique and individual and different humans. Like, somebody doesn't want any sex. Somebody wants sex all the time. Somebody wants to be open. There's 8.1 billion people in the world. Like, that's the beauty of meeting your match. Like,
very true, very true. What about the other thing? What's one misconception women have about men in sex?
Something that frustrates me about women and sex is that they like. I feel like there's a lot, people might hate me for this, but there's a lot of pressure on a guy, like,
sexually.
Yeah, and like, women have a responsibility too to teach. If he's not at the clit, like, tell him where it is.
Fair point.
Like, sex is communication, and you can't like lie back, expect him to be great, and then when he's not, like, whinge about it.
Right. So kind of a level of ownership over guiding him towards what you like.
Yeah, responsibility on both. Like, I think sometimes the problem isn't men that don't know what they're doing and then women not teaching them necessarily. It's men that don't care.
Sure.
They're just like, well, I don't care. I'm getting what I want. I'm not interested in your pleasure. I think that's fair. But when there's a guy like genuinely trying, and then she's like, oh, you only lasted like 2 minutes, or...
Isn't that a compliment though? Isn't that a compliment? Like, if a guy only lasts 2 minutes, he's like, wow, I was so turned on by you and you feel so good that I couldn't control myself.
Yeah, but then did he then take the time to make you feel good after?
No, he probably passed out.
So we all have hands and mouths and toys. Like,
you don't. Okay, you'd have to share this, but just a funny question. What is the quickest a guy has been with you?
Oh, probably like seconds. Like,
how many seconds?
I couldn't say, but my husband has had a few instances. But the good thing about him is, like, he'll come and then he's gone on a journey. Like, we did not have good sex before.
No
way.
It
was like a wham damn, thank you, ma'am. Like, that's kind of partly why I went into OnlyFans. Like, I was like, I am not sexually gratified. Like, but then now he's a machine. Like, and
she taught her man well, guys. See, it can be done.
But he'll like come and just stay hard and just be able to go immediately. But yeah, there's been times where it's like a quick situation.
And I guess you're like, it's funny. I was talking to Kirsty. I don't know if you know Kirsty Stroud. I don't know if you know her.
She's heard of her name, but
she also does OnlyFans. And one thing she said, she has a rule with her husband because she was like, when she has sex, it really energizes her and wakes her up. And for guys, it does the opposite. We just get depleted, right? She was like, the rule they have in their household is no sex before bed.
Oh, because she will be just
so wired.
Oh no, I'm like done. Like, if I come, then I'm done.
You're
like, I can't like come in sex because then I'm like, nah, like, don't touch me now. I'm finished.
I love that. That's so funny. Let me ask you something else. So I've talked to a couple of women before where they do like solo play, right, with toys, and they felt they became too reliant on toys to make themselves climax. So much to the point that with a guy doesn't do it for them anymore. Is there a danger of getting used to that it does affect your intimacy with other people, or is it just a mindset thing?
So there's a few things. So no, it's not that you're like numbing your clit or something, you know, there's like it's point. That you get used to it, that making you come. Like, you get used to, oh, this is what makes me come, and your body gets used to that, and then it does it really fast in that way. But it would be the same with a guy, like, you know, where they get used to the grip and how fast they're going, and so if you don't want that to happen, then use different toys. You do go in different positions. Actually, like, romanticize yourself. Like, instead of just being like, right, spot I like, toy I like,
right,
done.
like very clinical, logical.
Make sure you're like, how do I put this in the right words?
Build a story.
You're conscious of your masturbation. You're
right.
like, you know, you're thinking about something, and make it different rather than, you know, the same each time. And I think sometimes as well, like we have like mental blocks. So you have like a accelerator and a brake when it comes to sex and arousal and orgasm. Like we physically have that in a system. So sometimes if we've told ourselves the story that we can't come with a partner, then that'll be we're worried about coming. We want to come now. Like, why aren't we? Oh, I'm not going to. So then you're pushing your brake and you're in your head and you're not in your body. Like,
yeah, very true.
So, you know, like breathing into. I used to never be able to come with a partner, never. And now I can, like, most times.
And was the shift a mindset thing, or was it literally he started doing something else?
No,
to you?
it was a mindset thing. It was breaking down those barriers, feeling completely comfortable with him, not feeling embarrassed, not being in my head, because you have like, you know, oh, what if I smell? What if I queef? Or what if I look weird in this angle? And all these, then you're not here. You're here.
And you're not with the person.
Yeah, you're not present. So it's breaking down all those things. And then even things like we did it so that I would play with myself while he was kissing me or whispering things in my ear or touch. And slowly I just was able to more and more and more.
Let's do that. Okay. Yeah, because it is a losing game once you get into your head in that sexual environment, because it just gets worse, and the worse it gets, the more your body's just like nope.
Yeah,
nope,
exactly.
Nope.
And you're tense and you're just not enjoying yourself.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny you mentioned smell. You know how they say about how someone's smell can be a sign of genetic compatibility? How real is that in your expertise? Do you know?
I've not heard of that, but I have had weirdly, like, when I suddenly know that I shouldn't be having, you know, when you're like, no, I shouldn't be having sex with you. Like you know that you don't match anymore or something's happened. Then like when I have sex with that person, it's like my body will get like thrush or something, because it's like my body's like, no, this person's wrong for you now.
Okay. Well, is that to do like the smell of the person, or is it just?
No, it's just weird. Like I just suddenly my body's allergic to their dick.
Oh, yeah. I built an allergy to you. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm sorry, but
I don't know what to tell you. That's so funny.
It's very weird.
So funny.
But I've never, like, the smell thing, and I don't know why I get so worried about things like that, because like there's times where I've gone to have sex with my husband and like, I don't know, he's gone to the gym or something, I just go, oh, go and wash.
Yeah, of course.
And like, why, that's fine.
Yeah, of course. No,
We're human.
like odor, I guess, like body odor from like the gym or sweating, that's a separate thing. I mean, like, because we all have our own smell, right? I was going to say musk. That sounds crude. We all have our own musk. Literally, we all have our own musk. But I mean, like just their own, because everyone has an individual smell that is identified to them.
Yeah.
Right. And I know, because I've had it where I've been with girls where, you know, and it wasn't because they were smelly or anything. It was just like, I was like, it was very neutral, like kind of smell. I was like, okay, this is kind of, don't know if I'm feeling this.
Right.
And then others were just like, I just want more of your essence here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I can, because like with Georgie, we have a really nice connection. And when I saw her on Thursday, I was like, oh, I love your smell. So, I don't think I'd necessarily do. I think though, when you like really like someone, suddenly everything about them is lush. Like, I think
this is the one thing that doesn't change.
Yeah.
And the reason I ask is because I've had it with two of my male friends, and I've experienced this as well, where I was dating a girl and she was lovely and everything. But for some reason over time, like there's no nice way to put this. The smell became unpleasant down there.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't like an infection or anything like that. but also it was kind of like, okay, how do you communicate that? Or you can't, because it's like, maybe it's not you, maybe it's me.
Yeah, maybe
like
it
maybe
is
I just don't
want
match
to do
your
it.
maybe we're not genetically compatible, or maybe it is actually something else. And like I said, with a couple of my friends and me, it was kind of like, because that is too much, it's too off-putting. I couldn't address it, or I felt like I couldn't address it, because I was like, maybe it's not you, maybe it's me. Like I just don't match with your smell.
Yeah.
Or maybe there is something, but then how do you address that? And so it just kind of ended it.
Yeah, that's really hard.
What would you do in that situation?
I think I'd just be frank, but say, I don't know
What if you were the girl? You're the girl, you're seeing a guy.
What? And they said to me like, oh, I can't deal with the smell.
Well, like it's at a point where either he addresses this smell to see if it's something, or he kind of just ends it.
I'd rather them address it, because I'd be like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, we're human. Like, sometimes.
Because I think there's so much. When you like someone, you don't want to hurt their feelings.
No.
And you don't want them to be self-conscious, because it's like, oh, you don't like my smell. And then every time we get intimate, it's like, so I was like, maybe it's me and some other guy just matches you better. So there's no point me putting this potential seed of insecurity.
But then she's going to be like, but then why did you leave me? Or why did we break up? And she's going to think like, is it something I said? Is it something I did? And you just go over and over. I'd rather just somebody be frankly honest with me. Maybe it's like the neurodivergence, but just tell me shit straight.
Yeah.
Because then I know.
Yeah.
It's better. I personally would much prefer to know than to question for the rest of my life. Like, what?
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be like, oh,
you stink.
You fucking reek, bitch.
But to be honest as well, though, like, we do live in a world where actually, like, our pH is off, man, because we're taught to wash. Like, don't wash your bits with soap.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's messing up your pH, and then you do stink, and then because you stink, you use more soap. Like,
never-ending battle.
They're not silly. They're selling you it so that you buy more. What's better than selling you to the solution that also causes the problem?
So, facts. Big Pharma, don't come for me. Next question. Oh yeah. So I think on one of your videos, you mentioned that sometimes people feel empty after casual sex. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is? And how can people move forward with that?
Because they're using it to escape.
So say more.
Why are you having sex? It's the same as like, why are you drinking? Why are you eating this food? Why are you, somebody can really enjoy a massive greasy pizza and it's delicious. But if they're eating that, if they're eating that pizza with somebody they love and they're having a great time and it tastes good and they're tasting all the things and they don't feel bad, that's great. If they're eating that pizza because they hate their life and they need something to give them dopamine to make them escape from whatever it is that they're hiding from, as soon as it's over, as soon as you finish eating the pizza, as soon as you've stopped having sex, as soon as the night's over and you're not drinking anymore, you feel crap because all those feelings that you're running from have come back.
Right. So it's not the actual act of the casual sex. It's from why they're choosing to indulge in it. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Have you found any differences in how men and women choose to indulge in that? In your experience?
Slightly. Like, I think perhaps men, if they're like having casual sex, it's like a bit of an ego stroke. Like, I want to...
validation.
Whereas for women, it's like, make me feel something. Like, oh, I have company. Give me this care. And so I do think so, but it's the same. It's also the same. It's validation, essentially, and like escaping and like I think it's just... You can do it with anything. It can become unhealthy with anything. And we're so we're not taught to sit with feelings anymore.
Yeah.
We're just taught to like run from them.
Yeah. Or we have so many things at our disposal that help us not address what's going on. You know, casual sex, video games, porn, whatever it is.
Social media, likes, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. If you were prime minister, what's the first law you would implement? No more products to washing genitals. They're all banned.
What would I put? Oh, God. I'm going to say some like really left-wing stuff now.
Do it. Go for it.
I think I would cap the maximum earning, and everything that was earned above that would go back in. Because nobody needs more than, £5 million. Nobody needs that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Nobody needs that. If it's sat there, can't we pay for
what half of that's going to people who are prostitutes, trading money for sex? Then still giving back.
Well, that's great, but if it's sat in a bank account and you're hoarding money, there's no need for it. Since I've been earning lots of money, I just try and hire as many of my friends as possible, because literally giving them an extra 200, 300, 400 pound a month is life changing.
Yeah,
and they go from not being able to afford heating to actually being able to buy a nice present for their kid at Christmas and go to the zoo once a month. Like, it makes a humongous difference. Such a small amount of money, and there's absolutely no reason why anyone needs ridiculous amounts of money while someone else can't even afford to be warm.
I agree with you. I think it's interesting that you said you hire your friends. Why your friends, not people you don't know who are in less fortunate positions? Because
they are in absolute basic need. They are people.
Like they are.
Yeah, like I had nothing growing up. Like, I would steal pound coins off the floor to pay for a sausage roll.
Right.
So where I am, people that I'm surrounded by are people that can't afford to pay for their NHS prescription. So, and I don't want to just give them money because then they feel bad. So I'd rather give them something to do, and then they've earned the money.
They've earned it. So that's even for their own, to help how they see themselves.
Yeah.
As opposed to you just giving them, they're like, but don't give me a handout, because they have respect for themselves.
Because they're no, I don't want your money. I don't want your handout. But if I'm like, well, could you do this for me? And I'll give you this money.
Yeah.
Then
man, maybe you should be prime minister. You should be prime minister.
Just be a big orgy all the time. I think the world would be happier.
I'll be there. So you had quite an amazing body transformation, right? Tell us how you were before and what your transformation was like.
Yeah.
And how did that affect your sex with people or even your husband?
So I was a size 20. I was very big. I've had 3 babies, so, and I was addicted to food. I would go and I would buy, loads of McDonald's, and I would eat that, and then I would go home and I would eat more, and then I would cry, and then I would eat more. It was an escape. It was an addiction. So I had weight loss surgery because I had spent 10 years of my life trying to losing weight, and then putting it all back on again.
Wow. What was it? Sorry, before we carry on, what was it an escape from?
So
you don't have to share if you don't want to.
I don't know. I've got bipolar, I've got CPTSD, I have ADHD, my brain is a fat mess. And
it's a playground.
Yeah, it's fun. So I think I still now, I'm not addicted to food anymore, but I'm addicted to work. That's.
I mean, you haven't got the worst job out there.
No, it's not. It's better. It's better than food.
Yes.
But I still can't stop. I can't stop. My husband will be like, "Oh, let's go for a walk," and I'm like, "No, I need to do this." It's hard. So I think I just have that in me. So yeah, I had weight loss surgery, and it was the best thing. One of the best things I've ever done for myself, because it just means I don't think about food anymore. I eat when I'm hungry. I try to pick food that nourishes me, and I stop when I'm full.
Yeah.
And it yeah, my body transformed, and yes, that gave me a lot more confidence, but it also removed the obsession with food, and that gave me time, that made me sit with these uncomfortable feelings, and it made me work on them, and it made me work on myself and spend all this time that I spent, obsessing on food on other things.
But you would have had to have shifted your eating habits, otherwise you've not just got back to where you were before the surgery.
No, because so the weight loss surgery I had, basically they take about 80% of your stomach out, so you can only eat a very small amount.
Got you.
And yeah, some people can eat past that or eat, but my issue was never like sugar and stuff. Mine was gorging. So I would eat nothing all day. It's very common for people with ADHD. I would eat nothing all day and then be starving, and then nothing really sounds good. I'm just going to order in, and then I will eat.
Just consume.
Yeah. And like there's a physical thing. So when you stuff yourself, when you eat that much, your stomach swells and it pushes, I think it's like on a certain part that actually physically numbs your feelings.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like a physical thing that you numb out.
Interesting. It's funny how certain things tend to be common ways people cope with emotions they don't want to feel, like eating, alcohol, sex, or whatever. Like reading is never one of them.
Yeah, it's that dopamine,
books?
Dopamine hit, isn't it? You want that dopamine hit.
Yeah, it's so true. How much do you think the gym has become one of those things?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Do you think?
Oh yeah, like even like but then, do we need to get rid of every single thing that's a hit, as long as we're, as long as we're managing it and it's not impacting us. If you're choosing to go to the gym even though you've injured your body, or even though you have your kid's birthday party, well, now that's an issue. But
yeah, of course.
If you have to go to the gym every day and it makes you feel good, then that's not bad. So I think sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves to control and prevent any kind of, what could be an addiction, but maybe managing it is easier.
Yeah, I get that. What did it do for your sex life?
I think it's hard to say, because obviously it was happening when I was doing OnlyFans, so I don't know whether it was that made me more confident, or whether it was the fact that I was talking about sex and learning what I wanted, and my husband was suddenly interested. And so, but I've always been like pretty rampant, like wild on sex. Like even when I was bigger, I loved sex, but it gave me far more confidence with others, with other people. But to be honest, I'd already learned that I was desirable to someone no matter what I looked like. Like you might not be in like the big bracket of everyone's obviously going to fancy you because your society's expectation of hot or pretty.
Yes.
But that, someone's trash is another person's treasure. We're all unique, and even bigger, I did well on OnlyFans. People used to want to watch me eat, or they used to like my stretch marks and me big, or other people just liked my face and my personality, or other people we love what we love, and there was somebody, you'll be like someone's goddess or someone's god no matter what you look like.
What would you say to those who struggle to accept, like they really want someone but that person just doesn't want them, which happens, right? That's part of life. But they're so hooked on like, this person is for me and I have to show them that I can be what they want. How can we get past the point of just accepting that somebody doesn't want us? You know what I mean? And we can let that go to provide that space for someone else.
I would say like one, what is it about them? Are they making you feel something about yourself? Have they? Or
how do they make you feel?
And I think really what I would like everyone to do is to be enough for themselves before they try and be enough for someone else. And that's sometimes difficult, like really hard. Like I didn't do that with my husband, but we've done that together. But when you choose to be with someone because you want them rather than because you feel like you need them, that prevents that really awful power imbalance and that, like, you know, change. I remember with my ex, like, I changed myself so much for him that when I wasn't with him anymore, I was like, I don't even know who I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think, like, yeah, it's about, like, that person isn't, they're not going to want you. And even if you get them to want you, that's because you're changing to be what they want. And eventually you can't keep that up. That's
unless that is you. Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think there's this common narrative, and maybe I'm biased because I'm speaking from like a man's perspective. I think a lot of the time men see what women express that they want in a man. He has to be this tall, this good looking, make this much money. He has to do this for me, this for me, this for me. So I think a lot of the time guys are like, okay, well, if I want to get this kind of girl, I have to become that kind of man. And a lot of guys endeavor and make growth and strides to become that kind of man. And I think, I guess what I'm asking is that the right thing to do? Because I think men have always done that, but that's because historically women have been the choosers. You choose who is going to become fathers. You choose who comes into the next generation. Like, women have always been the selectors of men, like almost the parental investment in men, right? It's the sperm that chases the egg. See what I'm saying? So I guess, is that something that, I guess, what's the balance between not changing who you are for someone, but then growing yourself in a way that makes you a better version of yourself to attract the kind of person you want?
Yeah, I think it's about just sitting with what you want and who you want to be and why you're doing those things. Like,
right.
You know, I don't think anyone should make changes to be more attractive to someone else unless that's what they want for themselves too. Like, you know, I could go and get a tummy tuck and a boob job and be more sexually appealing to more people if I wanted to. But why am I doing that? And is that the kind of person that I want to attract? Like,
Very
is
true.
it actually going to better my life? Like, and if a man is like, and also I think if someone changes, I think we see this a lot in our society, is men have that core belief that, you know, women only want this, so I'm going to do. And then because they do that, they feel almost entitled and a bit bitter about the fact that they've done those things.
Yes.
And then that makes them kind of resentful. And it's like, well, like, you know, well, I have to pay for the date, so do. And it's like, well, maybe we should just go halves on the date. Like,
most women don't do that though.
Yeah, but then that most woman isn't for you.
I get that. I think what it is, it's I agree. And you're absolutely right. There are guys who become something and they think, well, I've become this, and this to even attract you. And there can be a level of entitlement. Completely understand that. I think what it is, let's say like paying for the date, it's like guys will choose to do that, not because necessarily he wants to, but because it's going to build a certain impression that he wants to make. So like he wants the effect of what paying does, not necessarily because he wants to pay, because the truth is, if everybody could have someone pay for their life, they would. Right? So it's about, okay, I'm choosing something to do for you because I want to have the effect that it does. Is that wrong?
It's not wrong, but you should be doing it because you want to do it and not then use it as a transactional thing. Well, I did this, so you should do this.
What's the difference between using it as like a transactional thing and then asking for reciprocation?
Entitlement. So if you ask, you don't always receive.
Very true.
If you demand, then that's completely different. Like if you're like, look, I've paid for all the dates and I feel like we've had a really nice time, but I'm wondering where the effort is from you because I'm not seeing that.
It's a very good way to put it.
That's an opportunity for her to say da la 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 la, like this is how, or maybe think, oh well, I'll plan the next one. But if you're like I've paid for all the dates and you haven't had sex with me, then that's like not okay. Like do you know what I mean? Like I think there's a difference between an ask and a demand. And also like if you've offered to pay for all those dates, then that doesn't mean you get anything in return.
True.
Like if I buy someone a gift, like and you can take the information that you get and change your own behavior, but you can't demand the behavior from someone else. So say I bought someone a really thoughtful gift for Christmas and I had like researched what they love and I spent a lot of time and effort on this gift and I gave it to them, and then on my birthday I got something like a box of chocolates.
Yes.
Well, I could either be bitter and angry about that and say, well, why didn't you do this? Or I could just not put so much effort in next time. Like,
yes,
you can alter your own behavior and find someone who respects and like appreciates what you do for them and gives in return.
Yes.
Or you can get angry and bitter.
Yeah, 100%. It's almost that you get resentful at the comparison of the effort you've put into what they're putting in. But then if you match their effort, maybe you wouldn't be as resentful of it.
Yeah, and also like it's okay to be resentful at an individual, but not at the species, you know, not at women in general.
No, of course not.
Yeah, I think sometimes men will apply that experience to all women.
Yeah, I think... What, as in like, oh, I paid for everything, so you have to give me sex?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I think that's
I've had those comments like on Instagram, like and like, well, men like pay for everything. I'm like, actually, I pay for everything in my relationship. Like,
yeah, but you are an exception to the rule, though. That is not the majority of couples.
No, but like, let's just work on an individual basis and not.
I agree. No one should be entitled to anything. I think where that comes from with men is because, especially nowadays, it is very difficult to be desirable as a man today.
Really?
Yeah.
What makes you say that? What evidence have you drawn that from?
Several things. So if we look at, for example, just dating app statistics in terms of how many men get matches to how many women get matches, right? About 15% of men get 80% of the matches. And the majority, and 80% of men are matching with only like 15% of women. And you get a very small percentage of men matching with the majority of the women. When you ask women, for example, out of 50 random guys who would randomly approach you in a bar, maybe approach you on the street or even slide into your DM, how many of them do you look at and go, oh, I like the look and vibe of you enough that I'd go on a date with you? Most women say less than 5.
But this is because of how they are approaching it. Like, honestly, I have been on Tinder.
You don't think women have higher standards than men?
Yeah, I think women have higher standards, but I think it's because of the expectation of women in a relationship.
As in the expectation women have. So, like,
for example, right, as a woman, you generally, you know, most women have their own career, their own money now. Not only that, but they usually manage a lot of the household, the money, the children. They can do that. What is the man like actually bringing to
his personality? He's a great guy.
Exactly. So if I can look after myself better than most men can look after me, of course he's either going to have to have great chat, great personality, great looks, good money, or great dick, because why on earth else would I share my life with you?
Okay,
like,
I understand that, but the argument you just made is the exact argument men make. They're like, if I'm providing everything for your life so much to the point that you don't even have to work, yeah, you better fulfill these other things that I want.
I don't know one woman that doesn't have to work. I don't know one.
No, what I mean is, even if a woman is working, if she's with a man, it happens more often than not. He is bearing the majority of the financial burden.
Yeah, but she's bearing everything else.
What's everything else?
Oh my goodness. Like
instead of, let's say they haven't had kids, right?
So that changes things because obviously I had kids young.
Of course.
But like I think a lot of men are just grown up babies.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like I'm gonna get so much hate for this.
Listen, I get hate, so go for it.
My partner, for example, I love him. I love the bones of him. But say I'm like, oh, could you just we're moving house, yeah?
Yep.
I'm like, could you please just organize the kids moving schools? Right, so if I was to organise the kids moving schools, I would Google the schools near the thing, search how to do the application, put in the information, blah, blah, blah. My husband will sit next to me and go, which school? Like, what's their date of birth? Like, can you send me my phone number? Can you send me my email? And I'm like, I may as well do it myself now. Like, and...
Yeah, but I think the irony is though, like, you're saying men, that's just, no offense, but that's your partner.
But this is like the experience of most women.
What, that a man doesn't know how to make a plan?
Yeah.
And do logistics.
Yeah, like the not that he doesn't know, but that she just kind of automatically does it. Or like, for example, like taking the bins out, he'll be, instead of just noticing that the bin is full and taking the bin out and putting a fresh bin in, she'll say, can you take the bins out? Can you take the bins out? Can you take the bins out? Oh, stop nagging at me.
So here's the thing, right? I'm not saying that doesn't happen. But we were talking about the men who have reached a level of desirability and attractiveness. So let's say a man who, like, this is my place, right? And I have a partner, okay? I'll do my own bins. I'll do my own laundry.
But this is what I mean. This is what...
So I'm not saying I'm necessarily this guy, but if you have a guy who's there, because we're talking about the guys who get to a point that they become desirable to many women.
That's why they're there.
Already doing that.
That's why they're desirable.
Okay, but here's the thing. You literally just said, if you're doing A, B, C, and D, then the guy has to be bringing good chat.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Blah, 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 blah. Is that not entitlement?
No, I'm just saying that these 20% of men...
Yep.
are doing those things. Like, why would a woman want to baby someone?
No, but what I'm saying is, you said that's percentage of men you feel become entitled to demand certain things from their partner, and you literally just said
I don't think they necessarily do. I don't think that men. I think in general there's like a bitterness from each side of what they're like. I'm not like anti the men, but I think there is, from both sides, women and men, this kind of resentment and this bitterness. So, well, what are you giving me? Well, what are you giving me? Well, maybe we just need to be enough for ourselves and then come together.
I agree with you. I'm just saying the example of you with your husband saying you do A, B, and C, and D, right? And you're like, well, he's got to bring this, or this, or this. If I'm doing all these things, that's exactly what those men say.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
This is what I mean. Like, this is what I mean. There's an entitlement and a resentment from both sides. Yeah. And maybe there just needs to be self-growth and acceptance as an individual. And then
so do you not think it's, so if a man has one of those guys, right, who's doing the most already, and he can happily invite a woman to his life and take care of her, do you think it's unreasonable for him to have expectations of her?
Okay, I'll put it this way. I don't think it's unreasonable to choose a partner that meets your expectations, but it is unreasonable to take a partner and then expect them to change if they don't want to. So pick your person that matches what you want in a person, rather than picking someone and then being like, I give this to you, now you need to do this.
So let's say, you're probably gonna hate, why the fuck did I bring this up with my husband? with him like sorting like the kids' schools and stuff like that. Would you want him to be able to do that in the future, or are you happy accepting that he will never be able to do that?
So the way we work is am happy for him to be exactly him, and I will either obviously there has to be a fairness because we have children and we live a life together.
Sure.
But if there's things that he can't do, that's fine. But don't tell me you're going to do them and then don't do them. That's when I get cross.
I get that.
And that's why being poly works for us in certain ways, because, you know, he loves going hiking. I couldn't stand hiking. No. So he can have someone in his life that provides that, and we're not expecting each other to change. But if those things, like, for example, filling out forms, if he's not contributing in other ways that feel like our energy is matched in the household, then something needs to happen. Or if those things are things that he wants to do and wants to work on, then those things are going to happen. But if he's like, look, I can't do forms, but I can do this, that's fine.
I get that. I agree. I don't think you should ask someone to change. But I think people can grow in areas that maybe they've never chosen to grow in before. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, a lot of the times, relationships often hold a mirror for us. So we get into relationships with people and maybe something keeps coming up. You go, oh, wow, this is something about me that I guess I didn't realize. Mm-hmm. And I think I think it's important to make an effort to not just compromises, but also if your partner feels loved in a type of way. So, like, for example, right? I'm notoriously bad at texting. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm really bad. And when I say it's got me into trouble before with previous girlfriends where they don't feel like I text enough. Like, I'm the type of guy, I'd rather have like a phone call on Tuesday and Friday than texting you every day, all day. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But some women love to have being communication every day, even if it's just touching base. Yeah. Right? Now, that's not naturally me, but I'll make an effort if I know that's how you feel love and affection. Yeah. Is that me changing, or is that me making an effort to serve the relationship?
That's you making an effort because it's something that you want and can do.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The can do is important.
Yeah.
Like, he's
also,
able to do this.
It's about compatibility and stuff, isn't it? Because, you know, I think it's communication and compatibility. So, like, if someone's a bad texter, is it because you're a bad texter that is the issue, or is it because she's not feeling affirmed and thought of and loved? And can you be like, I find it really hard to text, but I'll call you on these days. And then if you do, then you're giving her that affirmation and that kind of security.
I tried that. She wasn't happy with that. So I just started texting.
And there's certain things that are easy, you know, and it's like,
it could be easy for you. Maybe texting is really hard for me.
Like certain things that are easy and that you can add. Like, say, so, like, you know, with me and my partner, we have kind of like different love languages. So mine is like quality time, and his is like affirmation. So he will constantly be like, you're the most beautiful woman. I love you. I'm so grateful to have you in my life. And it's like a wonderful thing. Yes. But then that doesn't necessarily come naturally to me, but I will book his favorite band to go and see and be like, yes, we're doing this together. But he never used to do those things for me, and I never used to do the affirmation thing for him because we weren't even conscious of it.
Yes, of course.
And so then we come to a point where he was like, I don't feel like value. I don't feel like not loved, but, you know, valued. And I was like, but I've done all these things for you. Look what I've done. And I was
had this exact
you've never done these things for me. Like, and so it was that understanding, like, we just love in different ways. And so now he, you know, has a set day a month where he'll plan a date, and I have a set day a month where I'll plan a date, and I make an effort to, you know, turn into him when he is being affirmation and say something back. Like, I think if you're aware then you can kind of hear that love in different ways and make exceptions for ways that they perhaps aren't showing it in the ways that you want.
Yeah, and I think that's ultimately what I'm saying. I think it's not that you should change who you fundamentally are, but I think human beings, we're more malleable, I think, than we anticipate. We adapt to any environment. If we didn't, we wouldn't even be here today. It's because we're so good at adapting to the needs of the environment that we survive even to this, this far. And so I think you can, and even moving forward, like, you can have an idea of the woman you want to be when you're 35 and you're 40. And so you can make conscious choices that are going to put you in that direction, even if it could be delayed gratification. So I don't want to choose this right now, but I know that the effect of me choosing this means I'm going to end in the destination that I want to be in.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think as well, it's like about why you're doing it. Like say,
the why is important.
Say my husband loves a roast dinner and I really want to make him a wonderful roast dinner on a Sunday. I should want to do that because I want to make him feel good. I shouldn't feel like I have to do that because if I don't, he's going to berate me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it shouldn't be. I want to do this so I don't get punished.
Yeah, exactly.
Of
Like,
course.
I think if you're doing it out of desire and want, that's different to feeling like you have to.
Yeah. No, I agree. Listen, it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for sharing your energy with us today. It's been absolutely lovely having you. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
So my Instagram is bettersx.blog and I do like silly little videos and a sex
They're hilarious.
education.
Go check them out. They're actually really funny.
Sex education and acceptance and body acceptance and it's a fun place to be. So come and find me. Thank you for having me. No. I don't hate men.
Of course not. She's got multiple relations with men. Come on. How can you hate men with someone so generous? No. No, we appreciate you sharing your energy with us today. Thank you for coming on. Guys, go show us some love. Give us some likes. Give us some follows. All that love stuff. Thank you for tuning in and I will see you in the next episode.